be surprised if they or a tower control here. Try to play to their strengths and what their comp is best at.
Good morning, the Turf War champions. Very impressive work down the stretch of that one. And if it is splat zones, it's going to be fascinating because you've got a team like Good Morning that loves to move around and use that tent umbrella. But with splat zones, Ashley, all the action happening in one spot changes some of your mobility thinking that you're trying to do.
It definitely does. And also you're forcing all of your gameplay to sort of happen right there in that splat zone. So maybe a little bit of your strategy changes. I don't know that Shadow would play Tent Umbrella on something like splat zones. So it'll be interesting to see what they choose.
Well, we are being told it will be tower control on Inkblot Art Academy. So this is a matchup of map and mode that we saw in semifinal number 1. And we know how difficult it is to get to that third checkpoint here, 9. And so when you're trying to make that push to that final checkpoint, it always seems like in every map, there's that one particular checkpoint. You feel pretty confident if you can secure that. What do you have to keep in mind as you're making that transition from checkpoint 2 to checkpoint 1 in Inkblot Art Academy?
Yeah, it's a great question. And really, Starburst played it the exact way that they needed to earlier. So I'm just going to say copy what they did here. Understand that your most important resource is somebody on the tower to keep it in a relevant position, right? The opponent has to come to you eventually or you're going to win the game. So keep control of that tower. Play ahead of it here, and in particular on Inkblot Art Academy, understand that if you're controlling the high ground, the opponent's not going to be able to get down without dealing with you, and that can buy you precious seconds.
And that's what we saw when Starburst overwhelmed Arctic Moon in our semifinal number 1, Ashley. They really extended their attack once they had the tower. They didn't want to just hunker down by the tower. They're really pushing the distance and maximize the range on their weapons, and maybe a little bit of game film that you can use if you are not FT Win here and you're trying to turn the tide in the semifinal number 2.
I mean, if you're Good Morning, use the great ability you have in Turf War to try to generate all of that space ahead of the tower, right? You have to use the ability that you have, the skill that you have, the thing that you're really good at, and try to translate that into a game mode that maybe you're not as confident in. And so, obviously these are all really great teams and they're going to be, they're going to be fighting for that tower nonstop from start to finish. But at the end of the day, use those skills in Turf War and translate them to tower control.
We'll tie up that smock and let's go ahead and take a visit to Inkblot Art Academy. A little tower control here. Cannot FT Win get back on the board and tie things up at 1-1? Or can Good Morning beat everybody awake and get to a 2-0 advantage? We'll find out. You got Good Morning in the purple, not FT Win in the yellow, as we see 2D just very methodically inking some map here at this point, and already an ink armor being deployed, not wasting any time there, 9.
No, not wasting any time at all. And, this opening control here, you could have probably said was going to go in favor of FT Win. They aren't running a true backliner here. Bagel is on the mini splatling, but it doesn't have the range of Lux's heavy splatling that just chucked the Booyah Bomb all the way across the map. So in terms of simply controlling the middle area, you're going to see not FT Win doing that with, I would say, relative ease. But are they going to be able to go through the teeth of that Good Morning defense?
Not FT Win getting the first checkpoint, but now the tower being ridden back to neutral by Good Morning. And Good Morning with a 4-2 advantage, and Ashley, no better time for a push than right now.
I mean, hey, that's when you got to move the tower, when there are as minimal amount of opponents on the map as possible. When they're respawning, get on that tower and move it forward as quickly as you can.
Checkpoint number 1 cleared by Good Morning, and they look to take the early lead as they start to encroach on the 60s. FT Win trying to push them back just a little bit. Bagel seeking the higher ground. Has some Tenta missiles ready to go. Deploys those. Gets some help with their buddy jumping in. And now it's Bagel still trying to back up. And some purple Tenta missiles coming in. Good Morning doing a good job of just sustaining that push. But now they'll get another chance here, 9, and reload with a few more specials ready to go in just a moment.
Yeah. Exactly what the Tent Umbrella can bring to the table here. That entire time, it was just Tent Umbrella Shield being fired up that uninkable surface. You can't do anything about it when that happens. You certainly can't paint around it, can't paint under it, and all of this pressure they've been applying is simply because not FT Win has not been able to go on that right side. The Tent Umbrella won't let them.
Bagel going back to spawn, now pushing forward. You see all 4 members of Not FT Win out there, and down goes a member of Good Morning. And so Good Morning, they're facing a 3-4 deficit. Kyo trying to chase down with that Tri-Slosher. You hear the connection, just maybe one more bucket away from a splat, and Kyo applying that pressure. Now here comes the push, the counter push from Not FT Win, as they start to get the tower. And here it is, Ashley. They're trying to line things up with a numbers advantage.
Yeah, you can see Kyo's doing a lot of work with the Slosher, trying to make sure that there are no lanes available for anybody on Good Morning to get around behind them or on the sides. And so, you know, this is classic Not FT Win. Kyo is so good at tower control, making sure he's out there ahead of the tower doing the work.
All right, Not FT Win trying to get to that second checkpoint. They've taken the lead now, 51-66. Just over 2 minutes left here in this second game of semifinal number 2. Not FT Win trying to tie things up in 9. You're starting to notice something here as FT Win starting to advance this tower.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about the double armor composition that Not FT Win is running here, but there was one of the best timed armors I've seen all game. It was a 3v4, all members stuck in 1v1s, a timely armor that allowed Not FT Win to really crack this game open.
Nothing brings a bigger smile to the face of 9 than well-timed armor. Here comes the Tent Umbrella coming out. All 4 members of Good Morning just trying to hold their ink at this point. They're trying to send the tower back, but it looks like Not FT Win can have a sizable advantage, and this changes the strategy for Not FT Win here now, Ashley, because you can really focus on your defense with just about 1:15 left.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you really just have to keep them from getting to that third checkpoint. I mean, that's really the name of the game at this point. There's nothing they need to do but play a little bit of defense. They don't really have to push if they want to win. I mean, they could try to go for the KO. That's always nice. But, you know, at this point, it's just a matter of keeping them off of that second level platform.
Good Morning going to need everything to go their way with under a minute left and a huge deficit to make up over Not FT Win. Here comes another ink armor by 2D. And here comes the push from Good Morning. It looks like Not FT Win in prime position to send it back. And now it's just back and forth at this point here, 9. Is it all defense, the focus here for Not FT Win here, 9? Because you got just over 30 seconds left.
Yeah, it's defense, but you can't be passive, right? And I think it's very easy to conflate those two. You've seen they're throwing bombs, they're moving up, they're getting a couple shots off on somebody, and they're making it very difficult to know where the attacking lanes are. You see Kyo all the way at the bottom of the map there because he got in an engagement on that side. And you see right here with just 10 seconds left, Jordan, that's a very yellow map on the middle. And now Biscuit's going to try to put an exclamation point on it.
Yeah, Biscuit trying to lock things down with that Booyah Bomb right in the middle. And he is going to close off the door to the club as we head to overtime. But then the double splat with the well-timed Booyah Bomb is going to put Not FT Win on the board and tie up semifinal number 2. We know who won this time, Judge. You're not going to fool us. That is Not FT Win with that victory. And how about that, Ashley? That push midway through was just enough, and then you love the way that Not FT Win changed their play style once they snatched the lead from Good Morning.
Yeah, I mean, they had such a sizable lead that it really just became about controlling that little area, the patch between checkpoint 2 and checkpoint 3. If you can control that, you're going to be fine. You literally watched as you're just sitting there waiting with a Booyah Bomb and just, hanging out. They were just hanging out, check the watch, maybe have a snack. They're just calmly watching what was going on. And then finally it was like, okay, now it's time. You toss that right in there onto the tower. Game's over.
And Nine, that was a really great call out by what Kyo was doing. It seemed like Kyo was on his own little island over there, just chilling. But you mentioned seeking out those opportunities for engagement to really, it seemed like just keep Good Morning in disarray. They never really felt like they came together on a very choreographed, coordinated attack late in that game.
Right. For those of you who checked the scorecard there at the end, 15 ink armors for FT Win. 15 ink armors. And it is so difficult to fight a team that seemingly always has ink armor up, especially with the composition that Good Morning was running. We talked so much about that Tent Umbrella, needing to break through with the Tent Umbrella. They're not going to be able to fight their way through the members of FT Win. They're too good at the game. They have the right weapons, and they have ink armor. It was a great strategy that they employed. And like you said, Ashley, once they got the lead, never really in jeopardy of losing it.
We'll take a look at the bracket here in just a moment. This has now tied things up 1-1 in our semifinal number 2. Now that means Good Morning can choose the game mode, and map selection will go in favor of not FT Win. And for Good Morning, this is going to be interesting here, Ashley, because you've already taken care of Turf War, and you've already taken care of Tower Control. Turf War, arguably the strength of Good Morning. That is the game that they won to advance to this Fresh 4 championship. You have to wonder if Good Morning is going to start to maybe look at splat zones when it comes to, hey, here's a game mode where we have to have ultimate map control and ink control of this turf to be victorious.
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see what they choose. Splat zones plays, you know, obviously quite a bit different than Turf War. It's a similar type of game, but it's not quite the game that Turf War is. So I'll be really curious to see what the choice is.
Well, the selection is in, and we will be doing Clam Blitz on Manta Maria. So we recently saw Rainmaker on Manta Maria 9. Now there's Clam Blitz. Does that change the way or where the action takes place here on Manta Maria?
Well, it's certainly going to change the places that the action occurs here. Of course, you're kind of playing the whole map rather than simply around the Rainmaker. But Manta Maria, I think a very, very good map for Good Morning here. I know that technically it was FT Win that picked it here, but we haven't talked too much about Lux, the only true backliner that we've really seen since this tournament started. This is a map that has historically been dominated by the long-range Splatling players. This is going to be a great opportunity for Lux to really show why that's been all throughout Splatoon's history.
And 9, those Splatling players, where do they like to perch themselves out on Manta Maria, or do they want to stay a little mobile?
They stay mobile, certainly, but the greats at the top, you can't ink it, you can't slow them down. They're running a lot of run speed anyway. Just move around there, control the entirety of the center of the map, and that's where the majority of the clams spawn on this map. It's going to go great for them if they can get that initial control and get off the back foot.
And when we last saw Clam Blitz in semifinal number 1, Ashley, we saw the difference between, hey, you can't be too greedy and get 3 of those power clams and give up basically all of your team's positioning. You're better off having that 1 power clam and then loading up with your teammates having 6, 7, or 8 when you make that push to really separate yourself.
Yeah, I think it's really important for, you know, like you said, you don't want to give away 75% of your team's positioning, right? So, and especially that early in the game, yes, it's important to try to get out that, you know, get out ahead with a really significant lead, but 3 power clams is maybe even a little bit too aggressive because you're putting yourself at a disadvantage strategically.
Clam Blitz, Manta Maria, both teams tied up 1-1, not FT Win and Good Morning. One of them trying to break ahead and put themselves just 1 game shy of advancing to grand finals. Will it be Good Morning trying to score another upset, or will not FT Win stabilize this semifinal number 2? We see 2D coming out, and anything that you're noticing, you see a couple of changes here, 9, for the loadout for Good Morning.
Big grin on my face here. 3 different families of Splatling here. I know
so
people can't
Splatlings and ink armors bring smiles to your face. Okay, I'm making my list right here.
Yeah, pretty evil, frankly, but look at this. We've got the mini Splatling, we've got a Nautilus, and we've got a ballpoint Splatling, all of which have had their moment in the limelight. We've got a carbon roller here. Finally, we're getting to see everything in the kitchen sink coming out from both these teams.
Good Morning trying to find something to eat in the cupboard and put together however many ingredients as they possibly can. You see not FT Win in the yellow. Here's Bagel right now. Sights on Good Morning, but now we switch to Keen. Keen with that power clam gets splatted, so that's a 4-3 advantage on the map right now for not FT Win. And actually, it seems like not FT Win is going to really try to make their push here now that they've gotten the numbers advantage.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time, you know, you take out 1 opponent, maybe 2. I mean, not FT Win is really good at capitalizing on even just 1 of their opponents being down and respawning. So this is a great opportunity for them. They do have a couple players down right now, so it looks like they'll probably back up a little bit, maybe play a little more conservatively. It looks like the barrier's been broken, though.
Good Morning striking first, able to sneak behind the defenses of not FT Win. They connect with the power clam, and that'll be an early 20-point lead. But that doesn't really mean much here, 9, because all it takes is just 1 coordinated push from not FT Win to recapture that lead once again.
Yeah, the very first push, so important really to the kind of set the tone for the whole game, because remember, every time you score, the opponent does get what we affectionately call the pity clam for free, just because you scored on them here. So right now, FT Win has even more ammunition to come forward here. You can already see 3 members in the lane. Biscuit's going to land from that ink
clams
jet.
right there.
Yep, grab it and throw. There we go.
Grab and throw, grab and throw.
4-2 advantage for not FT Win gives them a decent push. They're able to score 29 points, but nothing else there. So good morning. Credit them for not taking a huge hit when they were down 4-2. You have to love that defense, Ashley.
That is a critical moment of defense for them. I think that is going to come in very handy later on in the game. Hopefully they can, score some points here. They can get some clams, get them in the goal. Like I am very curious as to whether or not they can actually convert. You know what? Maybe I'm rooting for good morning right now.
Oh, we're supposed to be impartial, Ashley.
Maybe I'm rooting for him just a little bit.
You're honest. I love it right there.
I'm smiling. I'm grinning ear to ear watching this. I love this. I love seeing the splatlings. I think this is fantastic.
Yeah, it is certainly a mashup of all the possible weapons that Sheldon can give you that we're seeing from Good Morning. So far, it's a pretty close match with 1:45 left. You see both teams have really just made one push. 3-2 on the map advantage, not FT Win. Nobody in possession of that power clam, and we're going to see a huge reset of the clams on the map here soon, 9. And it looks like Kyo trying to go along the left-hand side, Ink Armor ready to go, and I've got the feeling here with 2 specials and all of their members on the map here, 9, not FT Win is trying to make their push at this moment.
Yeah, for those of you who are familiar with the scoring system here, 1 power clam would give Good Morning the lead here if it came down to it at the end. That 20 points would give it a 70-71, and just like that, 3 members of not FT Win are going down. I was about to say Good Morning has really struggled to get out of their side of the map, but with 3 people down, there should be a great opportunity here for them to do just that.
Let's see if Good Morning can do that. You see the clam count up top, 12-10 favor of Good Morning. But now another splash, so that's 4-3 on the map for not FT Win. 4-2 now. All of a sudden, things turning completely around is not FT Win. A near wipe here, Ashley.
I mean, the last thing that you never want to see is Kyo with a slosher coming at you. I mean, it's just like not a thing I ever want to see in Splatoon. But unfortunately, Good Morning has to contend with it.
So not FT Win able to connect with their power clam, and they open up their lead 44-80. So it's going to take a sizable push from Good Morning. They're going to have to really get a couple of splats here, 9, and not looking good for Good Morning.
Not at all. And look at Kyo. He's armored up. He's on the top. They're going to continue to throw bombs here. The onus is absolutely not on them to push forward here. We are going to enter a little bit of overtime, but Jordan, as you know, it never lasts quite as long as you'd like it to.
Who knows how long it lasts, right? It's like that injury time in soccer sometimes. It's anybody's guess at the most part, but here comes 2D, backing up, has a power clam. Lux trying to push their way forward. You see 2 power clams on the field, giving up their position. Lux able to connect. Here comes Keen. Oh, just a little short. That would have been huge. Good Morning. They've got a few ticks on the clock, but it's not going to be enough. Not FT Win able to hold the fort down, and looks like Clam Blitz and Manta Maria was on the wrong side of the bed for Good Morning, because not FT Win extending their lead 2-1. That's now 2 straight wins in a row, 9, and Good Morning just not quite enough down the stretch.
Not quite enough, and they've really made a valiant attempt there at the end. As you see a ridiculous scoreline there from Biscuit at the top, 14 splats and assists. You saw them push in there at the end very incrementally. They had the hammer there, the ink stamp that people like to use to try to push their way through. But when you have to score that many points, right, you need to check every box. You need the opponent to make an error. And really, you need 3 or 4 members of the enemy team down. Not FT Win, not the type of team to just give that to you for free. You saw, even though 1 scored, and even though that second power clam could have gotten close, there was nobody left to follow it up. A very comfortable defense there for not FT Win.
Now, Ashley, this sets things up for either Splat Zones or Rainmaker moving forward for a final 2 games. It will be interesting to see which game mode Good Morning will choose, because it is now a 2-1 lead for not FT Win. If they can get 1 more game, they'll face off against Starburst in our grand finals. But, you know, you're seeing enough from Good Morning. It just feels like they get that initial push, but then all of a sudden not FT Win is able to take care of business.
Yeah, it's, you know, it really looks like they get that momentum going. There's but then there are these sort of unforced errors that we're seeing, or you really see not FT Win taking advantage of even the slightest misstep, right? It's like they're so good at capitalizing on these like just so minor, they're just tiny minuscule things that make the difference for not FT Win. They will kick open a door if you let them, and that's exactly what happens time and time again with them.
So we have our next game here. It's going to be Splat Zones on Black Belly Skate Park and 9. This is always really fun because there's a lot of different things you have to navigate. You've got dual Splat Zones, so that always makes for a lot of fun here.
It is a lot of fun, but I will say, because of the way that this format is, they got to pick Splat Zones, they being Good Morning. But Blackbelly Skate Park might be the best map in the game for Kyo's Bucket if he chooses to go with it here. That is a weapon that is dominated since Splatoon 1 on this map.
Yeah.
So you know they were happy to have that pick in their back pocket here. The onus is really going to be on Good Morning to get their backliner Lux at that top middle area where he can kind of dictate the flow of the game. If they don't get control of that, they're going to have a heck of a time even getting back to zone, much less holding it.
Yeah, and the dual Splat Zones, actually, you have to split your attention. You really can't just focus on one spot. You've always got to think east to west, left and right. And if you've got some frontliners that aren't able to really break through, that's going to make things difficult. And as 9 pointed out, you've got to get your people in the right positions if you want to have success here. And that's going to be difficult to do on this map, considering the loadout that Good Morning likes to go with.
Yeah, Lux is going to have to work really hard to create lanes for everyone else. Because he's a backliner, he's not going to be roaming back and forth with his teammates. So it's going to be really critical for Lux to create those lanes, to really call out what he's seeing when he's perched. If he can get up and get established, it might make the difference.
Game 4 between Not FT Win and Good Morning in semifinal number 2, a victory here, and Not FT Win advances to the grand finals. This is a map that 9 has said is tailor-made for Kyo in that tri-slosher. We'll see if that holds true. One zone already claimed by Not FT Win. Now 2D trying to get to the other one. 2D trying to take care of business of that tent umbrella that was deployed, and now 2D is trying to avoid some Tenta missiles coming through here. And so far, the control here, 9, going to Good Morning in the early going.
Yeah, very nice to already get that. And look at that. You can see the big blast of ink coming from Lux's custom Explosher, a weapon that not many people use these days. But that is a weapon that does a ton of chip damage, can do a ton of ink on the zone as well. But it's also very easy to move back the other way. You saw they push him back, they take him out, and they're able to at least stop the scoring for the time being.
Not FT Win wrestling with Good Morning for that second zone, trying to get the control. Good Morning already takes back control. So an early 30-point lead for Good Morning. So far, Ashley, the crazy assortment of weapons working out for Good Morning.
I mean, well, if you're gonna try anything, why not throw the whole kitchen sink at your opponent?
It made that a weapon yet? I know we have a bathtub.
I was gonna say, is that gonna be in Splatoon 3? We should ask.
But here is Lux already. Now they've doubled up FT Win. They have got a 50-plus point, now 60-point advantage over Not FT Win. This is a surprise coming out the gate, and it's Lux up top finally getting picked off, but not before a lot of damage is done there, 9.
Yeah, a lot of damage points you can take to the bank, and I completely neglected to mention here because I forgot, there's a carbon roller on the map. Another weapon that is tailor-made for this map and mode in particular. You actually see it trying to get away right now. It has a lot of the same strengths as the Tri-Slosher on this map, diving from every which way to make the attack. So, you know that's a big part, is a 6-shot hit by Biscuit. And he's going to get to recall all the way back to safety here. The point's starting to tick away.
Yeah, Biscuit baking up a few splats here, and that's going to go ahead and give Not FT Win the momentum. Biscuit trying to push back, and here's what we see sometimes, Ashley. It's similar to tower control. You secure the zone, and then you want to push forward and keep the opposition as far away as possible from these splat zones. And that's exactly what we're seeing from Not FT Win.
Yeah, and obviously the penalty really makes such a big deal. It's such a sorry, I can't even talk back right now. I'm so excited to watch this game. I know. I'm just like, oh man, like I'm so interested in what's happening. It really is such a difference maker, that penalty, because, you know, you can really find yourself, like Good Morning, getting into that really big lead at the beginning and then ending up losing control, having a massive penalty that you then have to overcome, and putting your opponents actually in a better position than you would have maybe had you had a smaller penalty.
Yeah, essentially 65 seconds is the amount of time that Good Morning's going to have to make up if they want to take the lead back from Not FT Win. And sizable penalty as well, too, for Not FT Win. This is going to go back and forth, but Good Morning seizing control again. 4-4 on the map, minute 40, still just enough time left. They can sustain this push, but if you're Not FT Win, do you change your playstyle at this point here, Nine, knowing that you've got such a sizable lead?
Maybe so. I actually thought they made the right play there in using Biscuit's Inkjet at the same time as the missiles to try to move around the members of Good Morning, but Good Morning didn't actually give up that much ground as a result, and you saw Lux get a huge pick. And look at this, Keen is rotated back here to make sure this spot is safe. Now Lux is back in position. Just a few seconds left. If they can ride out this wave of specials, they might steal the lead right back.
About the turnaround by Good Morning, they snatch the zones away from Not FT Win, and now they are just 8 seconds away from taking the lead. Not FT Win got to take these zones or else Good Morning right there, and this might be it. What a push by Good Morning, but Not FT Win trying to wrestle for control. This is exciting here. Less than a minute left, and you've got Not FT Win 1 game away from going to grand finals. It is still right there. Good Morning trying to fight for their tournament lives. And how about the display that we're seeing from Not FT Win here right now, Nine?
Wow, and they actually do get it 17-18.
Snatches the lead.
But see, okay, this is the scary part, though. You got the lead. You're emotional right now. You have to finish the game. You have to execute 20 seconds plus overtime, more than enough time. And you see right there, the Carbon getting a nice pick, needs to find another, and might have, I believe, Omega just got a huge double, and that's going to maintain map control. Jordan, I think they might have this.
Morning looking to force a game 5, and how about this turnaround? They took an absolute shot early on from Not FT Win, but maintain their composure, and Good Morning gonna go ahead and push this to a game 5. What an incredible comeback, Ashley. They were able to take everything that Not FT Win threw their way and handled it with exact precision.
My heart is pounding right now. I felt like I was playing that game. I was like, it was so intense. That was an amazing set of plays. I have to say, Lux really made a couple of critical splats that made it possible for them to push forward, to take control back, and then to hold it for the rest of the match.
The remarkable turn of events as Good Morning, many people thought the scrappy underdog coming into this fresh 4. They are just 1 game away from taking care of business against Not FT Win. Listen, I know, Nine, they're missing a couple of their normal members, but still, this would be huge if Good Morning is able to get past Not FT Win and get to the finals. We now know that it's going to be Rainmaker for the final game mode. What map? We're not quite sure, but how about what Good Morning was able to do? Because now as we get set for Rainmaker on the Reef, it's anybody's chance here to move on to the finals to face off against Starburst.
It is, and I mean, what a, like, unless you've been in that situation where 1 more point is the difference between winning or losing here. Everyone is throwing everything they have at the zone. A couple people trying to search for picks. I mean, what great composure. We've talked about that word so much here, but I, again, will give the gold star to Lux on that Explosher. That is a weapon that can take an entire zone in just 2 sloshes here. It's what the weapon is made to do. Gave them just enough pressure to make sure that more members of FT Win had to fire at their zone, but the rest of the team had to come through. They did, and you said it. We know exactly what map and mode it's going to be. Everyone knows. No more secrets. Oh, boy.
It is a way to solve math problems now. You can do guess and check. It absolutely works. So now it makes it 2-2. We know the rules here in the semifinals, single elimination. So whoever can win this game, this 5th and decisive game 5, will move on to the finals to take on Starburst. It will be Rainmaker on the Reef. And again, actually, smaller stage. You've got that bridge. We've talked about it before. It's that 3rd checkpoint in the Reef that is so hard to get past. But if you can do that, you can really dictate the way that you want to play the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Rainmaker on the Reef is, it's tight, right? It's very claustrophobic. You've got that Rainmaker that can really carve a pretty big path on the Reef because it's a smaller map. I think it'll be really interesting to see how these teams capitalize, where they take the Rainmaker, and what their strategies are against each other.
Rainmaker, Reef, loser swims home as it's Not FT Win versus Good Morning, who will move on to the finals against Starburst. And it is a sprint to the Rainmaker to start this match here as Keen trying to take the high ground and just cover as much turf as possible to build up those Tenta missiles. He'll deploy them, and here comes Keen trying to move forward now. Keen trying to line up some of those Rainmaker shots, and this seems to be already a pretty coordinated approach by Good Morning out the gate here, 9.
Yeah, they got a really early Rainmaker pop, and I believe it was actually Biscuit that they took out. It was whoever's playing the Kensa 52. So already 43 points here. That typically isn't a winning push on this map, but showing some stuff. There's an Ink Brush, or sorry, an Octo Brush, a Kensa Octo Brush to be specific, on the map right now, really bringing out everything they have for this pivotal game.
Beautiful.
As we said before, there are these pseudo checkpoints in Rainmaker where if you can get it past a particular point, you know you're going to have a very sizable advantage. And 9:43, nothing to sneeze at out the gate here on the Reef.
No, nothing to sneeze at all. And I think they are going to have an easier time defending here because, again, there are very obvious ways that the Rainmaker has to go. Ashley, I believe you talked about it here. You can put the shield right there, stick somebody behind it, and pretty reliably bank on the fact that you're going to be okay on the defensive side. But, of course, easier said than done against a team like this.
And this is what's fascinating is you saw Good Morning here, Ashley, sprint out to get that Rainmaker and try to push it forward as fast as they can. And now they're just kind of sitting back, happy to play defense. And even though Not FT Win has the Rainmaker, Good Morning in prime position to try and stop this push.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a good strategy. You know, you burn down the clock a little bit. This is a map where you can run the Rainmaker pretty quickly. So if Not FT Win gathers any momentum, it could be over. So what you want to do is you've got that lead. You want to burn down some of the clock as much as you can, reset the Rainmaker, and do your best to try to keep them, keep them from gaining any momentum at all.
Not FT Win. Still being patient. They don't want to grab that Rainmaker quite yet. They want to get a numbers advantage before trying to advance. You see the shield off that Rainmaker. It's ready to go at any point. 2D decides to go with it. Is this the push that Not FT Win can have? They're flirting with the lead. Oh, but they are stopped just 3 points short. How about the huge splat by Omega here, 9?
Yeah. Necessary because FT Win had 2 people attack Lux's Stingray there to make sure that the Stingray wouldn't be what stopped that push. Omega was playing Guardian duty there and was able to minimize some of the damage here, but look at how close that is to the lead. You see right now they're just hoping, praying that that Rainmaker will reset so they can at least find their footing again. A bomb rush could have forced them back even further. They're just hanging on by a thread.
Rainmaker resets, so that is a sigh of relief for Not FT Win. But Good Morning, they can't relax quite yet because here comes Not FT Win, Not FT Win. Oh, just 2 away now this time. So another last-second stop by Good Morning. And Ashley, it feels like this is Good Morning that has now lost the lead. Not FT Win, just 8 away. It is back and forth. Winner of this game advances to grand finals. The pressure is all on Good Morning, though, here, Ashley.
Yeah, and just before that previous push, they used all their specials to try to keep Not FT Win from getting that Rainmaker back, and yet it still was not enough.
Do you see the Rainmaker with no shield? Is that by choice here, 9? Because it's sitting right in front of the goal. Good Morning, very confident in their ability to defend it at this moment.
Yeah, they know that they don't really have the opportunity to take it all the way back here. They're going to try to let it reset, use both of their distant specials here in the Stingray and the Tenta missiles to try to find a pick to at least give them a path to obviously go to. You see, their Tentabrella unfortunately does go down very, very early. That's going to take the teeth out of the push. And with just a minute left, they're going to need to find a huge pick, or Not FT Win is going to have to give it to them. And that is one member going down, so that might be the onus to start it.
Yeah, 4-3 advantage for Good Morning at this point, but time is running out potentially on this tournament for them. This final decisive Game 5, Good Morning, Rainmaker in hand. They got to essentially get it to the goal if they want to advance because Not FT Win, a sizable lead. How about Bagel, Ashley?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Slicing them up. Put a little cream cheese on that as Not FT Win regains control.
I mean, that just hurts. That just hurts. Watching Bagel, he's so accurate. He's so accurate, and it's really amazing how he finds these lines of sight that I so often never even consider as an option. No, it's an option for Bagel.
6 seconds left. Good Morning needs everything to go their way. They're throwing everything they can at that Rainmaker. They've got it, and they lost it, and they will be knocked out of the tournament as Not FT Win survives and advances to the grand finals, where they will take on Starburst. But what a highly competitive semifinal round number 2 that went all 5 games, but it's Not FT Win outlasting Good Morning, and 9 very impressive showing from Good Morning, because you weren't quite sure what to expect from them. We know that they go with the atypical weapon loadouts, but they put up a solid fight against a team that still has some championship pieces on them, and Not FT Win.
Yeah, fantastic showing from Good Morning. They can absolutely give themselves a pat on the back for what I think was a very, very engaging and a very, very instructive set right here, because they won the modes that you would think that they would win. They won Turf War, they won Splat Zones, and on the other hand, the other modes kind of got away from them. But you do have to give credit for Not FT Win there, keeping the game-winning pressure on that entire last game. They made about 5 or 6 pushes in the time that it took Good Morning to make one. And that's, again, like you said, the championship pedigree and the championship pieces.
Go ahead and take a look at the updated bracket as the grand finals are now set. It'll be Starburst versus Not FT Win. We do want to congratulate Good Morning on a strong showing. They will take home one of those second place prize packages, but we will step aside and catch our breath, because when we come back, a best of 7 grand finals between Starburst, a team that has been in the shadow of FT Win. They now get a chance to try and pick off a weakened Not FT Win, not with their usual members. Will there be enough bite left in Not FT Win to regain the championship? Find out when we come back as we continue along on the Splatoon 2 Fresh 4 Championship 2021. Welcome back to the Splatoon 2 Fresh 4 Championship 2021. Jordan Kent alongside Ashley Esqueda and 9. We are here, the grand finals. We'll see who gets a chance to take home the grand prize package. Let's go ahead and check out the bracket and see where we have gone here today with all of the Splatoon 2 action. And it'll set up a matchup between Starburst and Not FT Win and a best of 7. Starburst has yet to drop a game this entire evening. And it took Not FT Win all 5 games in semifinal number 2 to best good morning. And so let's take a look at the rules for grand finals. A couple things will be different than the semifinals. As we mentioned, best of 7, the team with the lower seed will choose the mode for the first game. The other team will choose the stage. So that means Not FT Win selecting our first game mode. After the first game, the losing team will choose the mode for the next game, and the winner will choose the stage. Now, you can repeat a game mode so long as you've played all of the game modes once. So if we get to game 6 and 7, we might see a repeat. But once a mode has been chosen twice, you can't choose it again after that. So we'll see what happens here between Starburst and Not FT Win. And 9, set this up a little bit more for us, because as we prepare for Splat Zones and Anchovy games, Starburst is a team that has just stuck around. And they've gotten a lot of silver medals throughout this entire Splatoon 2 competitive scene over the last couple of years. They really want to get this one against Not FT Win for a chance to show that they've been one of the most consistent teams in all of competitive Splatoon 2.
Yeah, regardless of the circumstances, you get the gold medal, you feel good, right? And they have performed very well in a lot of tournaments. They have outperformed FT Win at some tournaments, but this is the big stage, right? You are competing against a team that in this tournament in the past has gotten the better of you here. You've been playing together, you've been scrimming, you've been performing well, you've performed well today. I said it before, but if this isn't the opportunity for Starburst to take it all, I don't know what is.
And Ashley, what stood out to you about Starburst so far today? Because as we mentioned, they've yet to drop a single game, and this is basically the top 4 out of hundreds of teams that entered this tournament.
I mean, for me, it's the lack of unforced errors, right? We just haven't really seen them make mistakes. Like they've really played clean games that have been technically almost perfect. And so it'll be really interesting to see the clash between them and Not FT Win, because Not FT Win is really good at taking advantage, and they are also very good at, I argue, building momentum. They're a team that seems to really kind of thrive on that, forward momentum. So if they can come out of the gate really strong and maybe take the first game, it could be the difference maker.
9, Splat Zones, Anchovy games. You obviously have to show up with a bag full of quarters so you can have fun, but with one Splat Zone, it changes the strategy, because the last time we saw Splat Zones, there were 2 of them on Blackbelly Skate Park. What are you thinking about strategy-wise when there's really only one central space that you have to ink?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I mean, bring a bag full of quarters and then bring a bag full of suction bombs, because that's what we're going to see a ton of. We're going to see a lot of suction bomb rush here from both teams. It's one of the few things that can take this pretty big zone in the grand scheme of things. It's one zone, but it's big even amongst the one zone maps. There's going to be a couple members of each team, probably Brain and Kyo, whose main job is going to be to disrupt anyone who's trying to build their specials and not let them get the take back for free.
Splat Zones, Anchovy games, game 1 of our grand finals. The undefeated team of Starburst taking on Not FT Win. Sure, missing some of their members, but they still have that championship pedigree. Let's get this thing rolling here, and already you see the quick advance by Jared, able to ink the zone first. Nobody yet taking quite control here, Ashley, but here comes some early Tenta missiles as Starburst able to take control to start this game.
Yeah, or some early Tentos. Also, I am really excited to see ice on a charger. You don't see that too often these days, but that's a classic ice weapon, and so I'm really excited to see what he does with that.
Now it's a 4-3 advantage on the map for Not FT Win. They've regained control, and now they've taken the lead here, 9.
Yeah, they've taken the lead, and actually, I'm so glad you pointed out that the charger is out now, because Kyo has gone back to his sloshing machine Neo, and this is not a weapon that he brings out all the time. It is, of course, a very strong main weapon, but it has a bomb rush as well. So trying to contribute a little bit to that. Both of these teams bringing out all the stops here early on in this championship set.
Breaking out the classics, Nine. The classics.
Yes.
Kyo trying to turn that sloshing machine onto the splat cycle here, as it's now 4-4 on the map, and the lead going back to Starburst. So already some back and forth, and a 27-second penalty on Not FT Win. It looks like actually Starburst finally starting to get comfortable in this opening game.
Yeah, they are looking a little bit comfortable, but I will say, I would never, ever underestimate Not FT Win, and I would never get comfortable against them.
So Not FT Win momentarily taking the zone. That'll tack on a sizable penalty to Starburst, but now they are already chipping away at that as they maintain control of the zone. And this is when they start to advance here, Nine, and apply the pressure on your spawn.
Yep, and you're going to see Brandroid here just sit back, throw bombs up there, try to dictate the way that Not FT Win is going to be able to come back to the map. You did see that they got a really nice early pick. Ice is also down, so Brandroid's going to have to cede all of this room. But look at this, still painting the zone. They're still scoring here, and finally they do lose it, but it took a lot of members of FT Win and 3 specials just to get back to the zone, much less control it.
But because of that penalty, really didn't build their lead up too much more from what they had over Not FT Win. So Not FT Win just doing enough to make sure that Starburst doesn't really start to pull away. But again, Starburst captures it right up. You see the Ink Storm slowly going towards spawn. Suction Bomb Rush ready to go for Bagel. Is going to have to act quickly because now Starburst starting to pad that lead with just 2:30 left. And it seems like Starburst here, Ashley, starting to really get Not FT Win on their heels.
Yeah, they're starting to pull away from this. They're doing a really, really good job of controlling their specials. They're doing a really good job of coordinating with each other. It took a really long time for Not FT Win to take that splat zone after at least 2 of Starburst's team members went down.
Now hold up here, Nine, because you've got 4-3 on the map. Not FT Win quickly securing the zone, and now they're starting to push back Starburst a little bit.
An astounding sequence right there from Not FT Win. They threw 2 specials out and set Kill off by himself at the bottom of the screen to try to find his way to some attacks. Starburst rotated over in time and actually got there, but then Biscuit came in later and had survived that entire previous fight. So an incredible way of rotating around and making the attack. If they can thrust aside these specials, they might be able to take the lead right back.
Oh, but it's going to be tough here because it's now 4-2 Starburst on the map. They seize control, and how about that? Drop a 50-piece penalty on Not FT Win. So, sure, you give a round of applause for FT Win, but they still didn't do enough to take the lead, and Ashley, Starburst now has the clock on their side.
They do have the clock on their side, and they are doing a very good job of keeping, they're really forcing Not FT Win's hand here. They're going to have to do something, and they're going to have to do it fast.
Under a minute left. Not FT Win just 4 seconds away. Excuse me, Starburst was 4 seconds away. Not FT Win able to wrestle back control of the zone. You see the penalty on both of them, but you figure really time for just one more push at this point. It is 3-3 on the map. So it is Starburst that really just has to get this zone. It feels like one more time here, Nine, and that should put this one away.
Yeah, it should, and that can come from anywhere, right? Brand has been quietly having a great game. You see with 10 splats and assists, leading all the players right here. Really just needs to take out maybe 2 people, and that'll put it away. You hate to use the word perfect, but FT Win really doesn't have a lot of room for error if they want this to go the full distance.
Well, they've got the first thing you need, and that's the zone. With 16 seconds left, they're a couple of seconds away from their penalty. Let's see if they can hold on. They need to just hang on for 15 seconds, and they will take this game here. Can Not FT Win hold their ink till the end, or will Starburst have enough of a barrage? It is 3-2 on the map. Here it comes. Not FT Win takes the lead at the last second. And how about that turnaround, Nine?
Unbelievable. They sent Kyo up, and as he always does, I would pay money to be in that voice chat right now, but Kyo dove forward, ended up taking 2 out, and then set up a final engagement between Biscuit and Jared at the top. You saw that Biscuit was able to win that. That meant there was nobody left to paint. But how does Not FT Win keep doing this? They always do this!
Every time.
Not FT Win. The epitome of composure right there. I mean, these are guys, half their team has been in that championship situation before where you can't lose your cool, and we just saw it right there. It was a last-second push. You don't see that often at this high level of play, but but not FT win, as Nine said. Everything had to go perfectly, and oh boy, did it.
I mean, it's a gamble that paid off, right? That is quintessential. Like I said, not FT win. They're so good at kicking the door open, gathering a little bit of momentum, and making it a really big deal.
Let's go ahead and check out the updated standings here in our grand finals. Not FT win taking game one at the last second. An unbelievable performance when they were down more than 30 points in splat zones. That means Starburst, they get to choose the game mode here, Nine. And Starburst obviously coming in a very well-rounded team. They were capable of winning potentially any game mode. It'll be fascinating to see what they choose. Not FT win will get a chance to choose the map, of course, and you figure with Starburst, this is a team, sure, they dropped their first game of the entire tournament. How concerned are they, especially when it comes against not FT win here, Nine?
Not at all would be my answer. They have. I cannot reiterate to you how much these two teams have played, right? And how much these players have played. Heck, ICE represented FT win in a world championship before. These guys have all played against each other so much. I don't think they're concerned. I think they're thinking the same thing we did. Like, all right, you got us. Everything had to go right for you.
Yeah.
It did. All right, let's get to the game. We won 99% of that game. We're not sweating anything.
Hey, so is that 1% that can get you, though. And Ashley, now it is best of 7 here, so you've got to win 3 more. So we're going to have another repeat. Tower Control, Inkblot Art Academy. We saw Starburst win this one handily by securing the tower and then advancing their troops. We'll see if they can do the same thing. This time it'll be a much more formidable foe and not FT win, though.
If Kyo comes out with a slosher, it's going to be very hard for Starburst. It's going to be very hard for Starburst. I think this is going to actually be a really exciting game. I'm really looking forward to this in particular. I love tower control. It's one of my favorite modes in Splatoon. And to see Starburst and not FT win play against each other on this map, man, I think this is going to be a really close one.
And Nine, when you're trying to get to that final checkpoint and it starts to become a lot of 2-on-1s or 1-on-1 situations, what are you looking for when you're holding down the tower? You said you've always got to make sure you have a member on the tower advancing it, but that puts you at a number disadvantage when you're trying to advance 3-on-4. What do you have to do if you're the team on offense trying to close this thing out?
Yeah, that's the kind of the secret sauce of tower control, right? Okay, we have the tower, we're pushing forward. What do we do now? I think for a lot of these teams, there's an order of operations, right? What is the actual threat to the tower right now? Let's look at that. Let's be methodical. Let's check that one off our list. Brand's diving at the tower. Let's get him down. We have a bomb rush. Let's get that out of the way and just keep moving from there.
What's fascinating is if you look at these loadouts here, Nine,
aggressive.
Not FT win has got the range advantage over Starburst, it appears.
Well, 2 end zaps here. This is a very, there's no secret what they're doing here. We're saying we're double armoring and we're going to go fight you, deal with it. And look at this. Biscuit already has built an inkjet and was already able to get 2 people out.
So it's a 3-2 advantage for not FT win, and we're not even 30 seconds into this game here. Tower really hasn't moved much, just a couple of spots here, so an early but not safe lead for not FT win. Now you see Brand with the splat on 2D, and that's a 4-3 advantage for Starburst. So both teams actually kind of trying to do this firefight until one team has a sizable advantage for that push. But right now, it's anybody's game.
Really is anybody's game. I think if I'm either of these teams, I'm waiting for a 2 squid, 2 octoling advantage. This is that's the thing I would be waiting for before jumping on that tower, but it looks like not FT win is going to ride it to the first checkpoint.
Not FT win trying to get to that first checkpoint. Tower stops right there. You see Bagel down below trying to go up top for a height advantage. Oh, the 2-on-1. They take care of business against Jarrett. And that gives them a 4-2 lead on the map as they down a couple of cephalopods there, Nine.
Yeah, and look at how far Kyo is already up in position to push them back a little bit. That should make a fairly unimpeded path here, at least to the unequal path, and maybe even all the way to the checkpoint. But that's the stuff, right? It's moving very quickly, and moving where you need to quickly, I think, is the big thing. I don't care how quickly you can hit the Inkling button, how quick you can shoot. How quickly can you get where you need to be?
4-3 for a moment on the map for not FT win. They've built a 58-100 lead. They've really applied all the pressure. I mean, Starburst hasn't even touched the tower once here, Ashley, and it feels like they're still on their heels and they haven't really gotten their bearings, and we're more than 2 minutes deep into this game.
Yeah, I think that those end zaps really kind of set them back on their heels. It just was such a surprising choice and a very aggressive choice. So I think that might have actually maybe set him a little off kilter.
Starburst trying to think more offensively minded at this point, trying to attack the tower, but not FT Win, just locking down the defense at this point, putting even Kawhi Leonard to shame. Now it's 94-58 advantage, not FT Win. They're trying to take game 2 here. You see 2D and Biscuit working in synchronization as they take the tower and advance it now. And you love the aggressive play style that you're seeing right here by not FT Win, 9.
You do, and one of the other things that cannot be missed here, and Ashley, you even brought this point up earlier, you throw a suction bomb at the tower, people have to leave. They have a multitude of weapons that can throw a suction bomb at the tower here, so it's almost like they don't even have to show their hand when they're trying to defend. And it just seems, again, 3 minutes into it, and it has been all not FT Win so far.
Not FT Win, less than 2 minutes left. They've got a pretty sizable lead, but it's only 1 checkpoint, so not entirely safe. But here they go, trying to get to the second checkpoint. They can clear this one. You figure it might change his play style, but this is hard to come by. Points are at a premium right now, Ashley.
Yeah, this is this uninkable ramp is actually, it doesn't matter what level of play that you are a Splatoon player with, that uninkable ramp is really tough to take the tower up. But not FT Win has done it. They are heading toward that 3rd checkpoint.
And not FT Win putting on a clinic here in game 2. They are padding their lead. Starburst looks confused and discombobulated at this point, trying to just regain their bearings. They really only have time for one sizable push as we near the 1 minute mark. And not FT Win, 9. It seems like that strategy and those ink armors are just making it so difficult for Starburst to ever get that numbers advantage.
Well, it's difficult and it's frustrating too. How do you fight against a team that is always armored, always mobile, and always relevant on the objective here? It just seems like every time they get a push started, they run into somebody who's armored, and that can almost feel like you're fighting against 2 people, and that's just not fair. FT Win doesn't need that kind of handicap.
Yo, trying to sneak behind the enemy defenses, gets into that ink jet, not able to pick up any splats, but still, now it's 4-2, not FT Win, under 30 seconds left. Everything going the way of purple and not FT Win. We'll see if Starburst can pull some magic out of their cap here with 20 seconds left. They're going to have to get on that tower, and everything's going to have to go right for them. But they can't even seize the tower at this point here, Ashley, and now here they go. Here's that push they have to make. It's now desperation time for Starburst.
I mean, more than desperation time. 5 seconds left.
3 seconds left. Not FT Win trying to pick up another game, and they do so. Not FT Win now up 2 games to 0 in grand finals. So Starburst waltzing into grand finals, didn't lose a single game. They've now dropped 2 games in a row here, 9.
This is why we say, like, never undervalue the time that these 2 teams have played against each other. If you were just looking at the numbers, taking a bird's eye view here, you would say, all right, Starburst walked in pretty comfortably. FT Win had to fight for their victory. Surely Starburst is going to roll over them. But these players have played against each other so many times. They know the ins and outs and the intricacies of how the other team likes to play. That's why we're seeing these adaptations, and that's why we're seeing such a high level of play coming out of not FT Win.
So Starburst unable to even get past 90 points. I mean, that was the defensive lockdown performance we just saw from not FT Win. That puts them up 2-0 as we look at the standings here for grand finals. And not FT Win, they seem to be getting better as this tournament goes on. Don't forget, this is a team, Ashley, they were pushed to the brink. Game 5 against Good Morning, a team that many people felt, hey, if they can just win a game, Good Morning, you know, we'll give them a round of applause. So this is an unbelievable turn of events here in grand finals.
Well, Good Morning came in with, you know, like we talked about, the kitchen sink of loadouts, right? They were just throwing everything they could at not FT Win, and not FT Win kind of fell back on their heels a little bit. I think maybe not FT Win gave Starburst a taste of that medicine and did the exact same thing with the tower control game.
We still have 3 more game modes that they'll have to select from before we can repeat a game mode. Not FT Win up 2-0. Not going to call it a sweep quite yet at any point, but we'll see what happens here, 9, because now it'll be Rainmaker on Starfish main stage, which, listen, you and I, we do this all the time. We love this mode and map. What are these teams looking for here?
Yeah, they're going to be looking for the same things that they are in every Rainmaker to start. They want to get 2 or 3 down, make the big pushes, the incremental pushes. What makes this map so terrifying, and I don't use that word lightly, is once you get to that lower area that we call the pit, right, where you're finally in the lowest part of the map, you go up that small ramp and you're at the pedestal, points just fly off. I don't know where they go. I don't know exactly what the quickest path is, but I've seen teams go from 50 to 15 in a heartbeat here. All the more important to maintain composure once you do get that lead.
Yeah, and we talk about in Clan Blitz, Ashley, you don't want to make that one big mistake to let them get the big push. Same holds true here, I imagine. On Rainmaker, you can't give up that one big slip up that puts your team in a hole.
Yeah, I mean, if you find yourself in poor positioning and you're on the receiving end of the Rainmaker and you are just within range, I mean, that is the difference, especially for teams like these that will take every advantage. And again, like, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. If you give a team either Starburst or not FT Win, if you give them that opportunity, they're going to take it and they're going to maximize any opportunity they get.
For Starburst Tier 9, is there any recalibration? Because we sort of brushed off that first game loss. Not FT Win. They came from behind. Nicely done. We'll get you next time. Everything had to go right. Starburst is in an 0-2 hole now. Potentially looking at 0-3 depending on how this one goes.
Yeah, I think a recalibration definitely is in order, and we're seeing maybe a slight difference here in the team comps. This is still their no backline comp, so keeping Ice on that Neo Splash-O-Matic is probably going to be the play here. I think from their perspective, they see all of these as coin flip situations, right? They see, okay, if we got this opportunity going our way, we could get the lead. So I think for them, they are so zoned in right now that recalibration isn't even in their vocabulary.
Huge game here for Starburst. If they drop this one, they go down 0-3. They would need to win 4 straight games against FT Win to win this Fresh 4 championship. We'll see if not FT Win can put them on the brink. Starburst, they feel like they're built of championship material here, Ashley, and this is where champions rise up to the occasion and rectify their mistakes and try and get this game. And now we see Jared just really hold down this positioning here, Ashley. Sort of a cautious approach by Starburst. They don't want to overextend themselves too much right now.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to overextend. They're working really hard on getting a couple of splats in. They've got 1, they've got 2. It might be time to take the Rainmaker. That's exactly what they do.
With Starburst, early lead. They're at 80, but now they push it. Let's see if they can get to that mystery zone that 9 talks about with points fall off the board. They're sitting at 58, which is a decent lead here, but still plenty of time, 9.
Yeah, and that's 3 down. So you saw that there were 2 down, and Bagel was actually pushed way, way back. So credit FT Win. That last member, whoever they were, was in a really great position to throw down some bombs and slow down the momentum. And that's one thing that I think FT Win does probably better than anybody is, as they say, suction bombs and splat bombs are absolutely busted. Simply throw those where the opponent's going, and hey, they can't do anything about it.
Well, we saw not FT Win get the Rainmaker for the first time. They only pushed it to 90, so it's still Starburst that's controlling this third game, and it seems like they're starting to seize momentum potentially, and this would be huge if they can make it 2-1, because now they are back in these grand finals already, and they are back with that Rainmaker once again, and really we're seeing Starburst be the aggressors and can control the majority of the map here, Ashley.
Yeah, it looks like not FT Win's working really hard to send out, those suction bombs. They're doing everything they can just to keep Starburst away from them. And this is a very they're caught a little defensively on their heels.
And what's interesting is that this was the stage selected by not FT Win, and Starburst now padding their lead. They push it to 40. 3-2 advantage on the map for not FT Win. 2.5 minutes left. Still a lot of time for different things to happen. We saw not FT Win get a victory in game 1 with 10 seconds left. And so far right now, 9, it seems like that comp for Starburst with no real true backline weapon, it's paying off for them.
Yeah, it's paying off, and they really haven't even given up control of the map here. One thing to kind of note about this map is, with those flanks, it can be very, very tempting to send somebody up there. As we see Ice over there right now, we talked right about it, but that also means you don't really have anywhere to run to if someone else is thinking the same way. We see the Buckets fight down at the bottom, and Kyo actually gets the pick here. Kyo is in a position where if he gets 1 or 2 more picks, the path will be painted. He's going to have the opportunity to get a bomb out as well. The members of Starburst are pushed back. This is the opportunity.
So Kyo doing enough damage to give control to not FT win. Now they just have to advance the package here. It's 2-0 in the games. Not FT win trying to move up 3-0. But right now it's Starburst that regains control of this particular game of 40-77. But not FT win. That advance is stopped right there. So you love how Starburst was able to hold the fort at that moment, Ashley.
Yeah, I was a little worried for a second there, but yeah, they were able to stop the Rainmaker from proceeding forward toward their goal. You know, Kyo is just doing a whole lot of work with that Tri-Slasher.
Oh, but here comes not FT win. They're trying to go down the ramp, and there it is. They take the lead from Starburst, and now 18-40 under a minute left. Not FT win sniffing a potential 3-0 lead. How about that turn of events, 9?
I mean, the game-winning pressure over and over. A knockout, and both of those teams did the same thing. They put the Rainmaker in a position where they could make multiple pushes. They rotated people attacking that plat area. I told you at the beginning of this game that once the Rainmaker gets to there, anything can happen, absolutely anything. Ashley, you said it. Kyo finds a way to show up in these big moments. He got a huge pick on Jared. He kept the momentum going, and after a while, every wall will crumble in the face of that pressure.
It's so true.
An unbelievable turn of events. Not FT win. They were one game away from losing in semifinals to Good Morning. They have now just rattled off 3 straight games against Starburst, who came in here not even losing a game before grand finals. And so now this is totally in control of not FT win. They're up 3-0 in grand finals. That means Starburst, you've got to win 4. Count them, Ashley. 1, 2, 3, 4 games in a row if you want to try and take this from not FT win. Unbelievable what we're seeing here in the grand finals, Ashley.
I mean, we're going to have to see some tides turn. What do you think?
You're gonna have to see everything. Tides,
everything turning around.
Everything
yeah,
you can think of at this point. It is unbelievable. So Starburst down 0-3 as we take a look one more time at the current standings of these grand finals. It is not FT win, down a couple of their usual members that are absolutely giving it to Starburst right now, 9. And it's crazy. I mean, after one game, we said Starburst not worried. Clearly, they have to be concerned at this point.
Something's got to change here, and I think the most frustrating part here for Starburst is how the games have gone, too. Game 1, you lose it at the very end. Game 2, you're up against a comp that seemingly throws suction bombs out of nowhere. Double inkjet. It's so much pressure. It's so frustrating to fight against. And then you have, by all accounts, that game in the bag. A lot had to go wrong for them. FT Win found a way to push through, so I'll tell you, Jordan, there are not many teams on the planet, forget in North America, that can take 4 consecutive games off of FT Win. Even this edition of FT Win, this is the tallest of mountains to climb.
So we'll see what happens. There's a reason why they call it best of 7. It's happened before. So we're going to have Clam Blitz on Humpback Pump Track coming up here. So small stage here, Ashley, small map. A lot of things are going to be happening here at this moment, and anything can happen, as we usually say, because with this small map, one small slip up, and that can spell victory for the other team.
Yeah, there's also so much opportunity to find your way to your opponent's basket, right? It's like that's really that's the exciting part about Humpback Pump Track, but it's also the most terrifying part about it when you're playing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you thinking here? Clam Blitz on this map here, 9, because you've got to move quickly. Mobility is ever so important, and if you can get that first initial push or seize that lead, you can put tremendous pressure on the other team.
You can, and the thing with Starburst that, you know, I've always personally admired about their game is they never need to change things up too much in terms of comp. They never need to change the game plan a lot. It's a matter of execution. It's a matter of pairing up, and there are so many of these small, minute coin flip situations that are so difficult to track in the heat of the moment that really change these games. But I think if you're not FT Win here, you've tried basically 3 different looks, and you've won with all 3 of them. That's incredible confidence. They could go back to double end zap here if they wanted to really paint a lot, get a lot of those armors, force a lot of one-on-one fights. They can opt to go with a more control-heavy scenario if they want to. I feel like they are really going to get to have the pick of the litter with how they approach this map.
Yeah, as you mentioned it, the double end zaps that led to the double ink armor gave Starburst fits when it was tower control in Inkblot Art Academy. You wonder if they'll go with that same loadout on this smaller map here. And really, it's just the confidence that Not FT Win is playing with right now, Ashley. We saw that ever since they had that comeback in game 1 with 15 seconds left and on the brink in splat zones. They were cool, calm, and collected, regained control, and it feels like ever since that moment, they have not let go of the momentum.
Yeah, that is how they operate. You give them that momentum, and it's hard to stop.
We have Not FT Win on the verge of a 4-0 sweep in grand finals. It was something that will be written down in the sea scrolls for generations to come if they can pull this off. So let's get things going here. Not FT Win in the purple, Starburst in the yellow. You see 2D with a trio of clams behind them as they try to set things up, and already 4-3 advantage for Starburst here, 9.
It is, and you know, I said they didn't have to change a lot. Starburst never changes a ton, but one thing that they can do is they can pull out just a little bit more range. And look at what they've done here. They brought out a 96 gal for more range and a Kensa Splattershot Pro. That's going to outrange every relevant attacker that Not FT Win has. Here's the change. Let's see if it works.
So a little bit more range for Starburst here. I imagine here, Ashley, Not FT Win, you really have got to be on point with your mobility.
Yeah, you've got to be moving a lot. That much range is going to become very difficult to overcome, especially as you start moving towards your opponent's goal.
Production bomb launcher coming out for Starburst. Ice trying to plow a pathway for his teammates. Now you've got Starburst still trying to maintain that middle mound in Humpback Pump Track, but a power clam in possession for Not FT Win. Ice picking off Biscuit right there. That'll give him a numbers advantage. But 2 specials ready to go for Not FT Win, but they're down 2 members, 9.
Yeah, and Ice, finally, the reign of terror is ending here. And Bran was actually in a really unfortunate spot there. Got stuck in Booyah Bomb. And look at that. 2D not running forward there. Could have maybe tried for the score. Says, instead, I'm going to sit back and wait for my teammates. You can see 2 people attacking at the top of the screen. May regret leaving those points on the table. We've talked so much about how you want that first push to be the big one.
Yeah, and you see 2D just happy to sit back and play a little bit of defense and cover some of the map with that ink to provide just some extra mobility for his team that is clearly outranged at this moment. But this has been just a defensive slugfest. Neither team even close to approaching a basket. And Ashley, we're already 2+ minutes in.
I mean, well, this is championship play, right? The level of play happening right now. Nobody's getting overly aggressive to the point where they're making an unforced error, and that's really going to be critical. Like 9 says, you want to score. You want to get that really big score up front.
The margin of error is razor thin. Not FT Win trying to pick up this 4th and decisive game. And what did you see there, 9?
I think I saw 3 people fall at the hand of Kyo's bucket right there, using their power clam as bait. Somebody ran after him there. Kyo came back and got 1, 2, and even 3. And speaking of points, look at them fly off the board right now.
Wow.
This for your opening push. 80 points and counting.
That's an absolute sledgehammer of an opening hit from Not FT Win. They score 71 points on their initial push, and if you thought Starburst was backed up against the edge, they are hanging by a tentacle at this point because under 2 minutes left, they trail by more than 3 power clams. So we'll see if Starburst can regain control, and it is going to take a lot here, Ashley. What do we need to see from Ice and the gang if they want to try and get back into this one?
I mean, Ice and the gang, they may actually have to be a little bit bold here. They may have to carry 2 to 3 power clams to the goal. I mean, I don't know any other way to do it.
Well, they've got 2 in their possession right now, 9, but as we've said before, that gives up your position. Small map or not, you really don't want to reveal where you're at because you can't surprise anybody. And there goes down 1 member of Starburst. Now it's 4-2 on the map for Not FT Win, and they quickly shut down that potential push by Starburst. It is all Not FT Win with just 1:10 left here, 9.
It is an unbelievable game here by Kyo, as it looks like we're finally going to see some points coming back the other way. But this entire game, Not FT Win has just trusted the fact that as long as they don't let anybody attack from the left or right flank, they will be able to hold and minimize any damage. You see that score came in. That's not a whole lot of points there. You add those 2 scores up together and you get 100 here. So they know as long as they don't make the big error and don't let anybody attack them when they're not looking, they should be able to hold this with just 30 seconds left. I think they're right.
The quick calculations from 9 really setting the stage for just how difficult this mountain is for Starburst to climb. Down 3-0. They trail by 42 points here, and already not FT win. They can just lock things down if they can hold their ink for 20 more seconds. Not FT win. Down a couple members. Starburst trying to threaten the throne. Cannot FT win. Send a message that ripples throughout competitive Splatoon 2. We'll see here. 6 seconds left. Not FT win. Trying to hang on. You got a couple of power clams in possession for Starburst. Penalty isn't that high. There's one power clam. They're up 4-2. Oh, and how about that? Starburst on the brink of elimination. They do exactly what they need to do, and they force a game 5. Ashley, how about that?
I mean, I can believe what I just saw, but also that was amazing play, amazing coordination on Starburst's part. I cannot believe those Tentamissiles laid a beautiful path forward for 2 power clams. I mean, just that was a perfect Clam Blitz play. That was a perfect Clam Blitz play.
9. We knew going into this that Starburst would have to win 4 straight games if they want to claim the championship here. You got to do it one game at a time. Can't imagine starting things off in any more dramatic fashion as we just saw there. An overtime victory to fight off the 4-0 sweep.
You're not entertained? Like, I don't know what else to say about this. We said earlier on, right? There was no panic in Starburst, right? They lose a game, maybe even 2 games to just crazy last-minute pushes. Backed up against the wall, they do the exact same thing. They're capable of the exact same thing, and that's why it's so easy to kind of write off one of these teams, say, this is impossible, you can't do this. These teams do it every single tournament that they play in, and I suspect we've got a lot more great Splatoon between these two.
Let's check out the latest standings here in our grand finals. It was about to be a 4-0 sweep for Not FT win. They're getting ready to unzip the suitcases and pack up the luggage, but all of a sudden, Starburst in overtime, seconds away from elimination, able to come back and take game 4. That'll force a game 5, which will be Turf War. It's just a matter of what map it'll be on. So now Starburst with more lives, and we'll have Turf War, Ashley, on Mako Mart, which is, again, another very fun single zone map. Well, sorry, it'll be very fun with Turf War. A lot of area that you have to cover here, of course, and we saw this earlier. You've got to be very careful about not giving up the back part of the map, as we saw earlier in one of our semifinal matchups.
Yeah, I mean, if you are not paying attention to every part of your territory, you could really lose with one player who gets back there with a bomb rush. You know, that's how Turf War can be turned. You can literally change the game in the last 3 seconds, which is pretty amazing. And as we just saw, both of these teams are entirely capable of changing the game in the last 5 seconds of a game.
So Turf War 9, if my memory serves me correct, we thought for sure that it was a victory that was going to go in the favor of yellow. And then all of a sudden, purple shocked everybody. It seems like the last 5 seconds, you really have to make sure that you are locking down mid, but not pushing too far forward to where someone can sneak behind you.
Yeah, there's a code that is not easy to crack in this mode, and it really does come down to the end, but there's so many nuances between what really changes things up in the end. Like you said, Jordan, by all accounts, Not FT Win won, if you will, the last few seconds of the game that they actually did lose, but they didn't win by enough. How much is enough? I don't know. We can't see the whole map at any given time, so I suspect both of these teams to take the fight to each other. It's a fight-heavy map between 2 very scrappy teams that frankly are both firing on all cylinders.
So Not FT Win dropped a game to Good Morning in semifinals, which it felt like Not FT Win had total control over. We'll see if they can do it here. Starburst, once again, trying to ink for their tournament lives here as they face off against Not FT Win. And right now we see Bagel with that mini Splatling, and you've got more of that true lineup here. A little bit more range for Not FT Win this time around here, Ashley.
Yeah, this is a pretty classic Not FT Win loadout, if I'm not mistaken. 9, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is sort of the loadout that we've seen from them generally throughout, you know, their time together.
is. And, you know, the interesting thing here is that Bagel and Biscuit were trading off the role of best Nautilus player for a long, long time. I know this is the mini Splatling and not the Nautilus, but it just shows again why, like you said, it is a more classic comp for them, a shorter range Splatling to play around what else they can use, and Kyo bringing out the bucket here for potentially the final game.
The Brandroid locked in a little bit of a one-on-one matchup. See a couple of those fizzy bombs being launched up top. Now gets a little bit of help. But still, under 2 minutes left. It's a 4-3 advantage for not FT win. You just want to make sure you don't give up too much of the map here so you can put yourself in a position for one last push down the stretch. Not FT win. Trying to get one more win. Looks like they've got more control of the map here. That Inkstorm going to try and balance things out. And both teams, Nine, really not overextending themselves here.
No, this is the part where I think the nerves do set in a little bit. It's always most difficult when things are calm. When you're trading paint, the hardest part of a workout is always in between sets, and that's where these teams are right now. So, I mean, Jared's going to sit back over here, trade paint, and throw missiles until given a reason not to. You've seen that without really any major fights going on. Look at this. The map has changed back to yellow.
Yeah, Starburst looks like they're in control as we approach the 1 minute mark. And Ashley, this is a really tough mode to play when you're facing elimination because you really don't know who's got the win until Judd lets you know down the stretch. But here we go. Final minute. Cannot FT win make a push, or will Starburst take 2 games in a row now and make this more of a grand finals matchup even closer? Ashley, it looks like Starburst, they're starting to kind of push forward. Looks like it might be their game here.
I mean, it looks like Brand's standing on top of a stack of Grisco Salmonos, which is my favorite breakfast cereal. Also, one of my favorite places on this map. I love Mako Mart. I love standing on the boxes of cereal over there. It's a great position to be in, especially if you're using a slosher, especially if you have a ranged weapon.
How about this story for Starburst? They were down 3-0. They win their last game in the final seconds. Now just 15 seconds away from taking 2 straight games. Cannot FT win create enough of a push here? It's 3-3, 10 seconds left. I don't know if there's going to be enough time left here. And a wipe by Starburst. That's going to clear the way for Starburst to dominate the final 10 seconds of this. And here we go. We got ourselves a grand finals, 9. Starburst not giving up.
No, not giving up. And what an emphatic way to take that at the very end, too. They got a very, very early pick onto Kyo there at the end. That really, again, kind of took the teeth out of the push there. But look at that. Every member of Starburst there, over 1,000 points of paint. You get an additional 1,000 points if you win, so I know the 2,000 inflates it a little bit, but that's still every member of their team doing their part. And you said it, Jordan, like, all right, 2-3, let's, all right, come on, FT win. You're losing time here. You're losing opportunities.
You get the sense now, Ashley, that the pressure starts to fall on not FT win, because since that was game 5, you can now choose any mode once again, and it'll be interesting to see what FT win goes with, because the map selection will go in favor of Starburst. As we take a look at the updated standings in our grand finals, it was not FT win. They were up 3-0. They had a 42-point lead in Clam Blitz, but Starburst in overtime able to take that win. They win game 4, an emphatic game 5 victory, and now it's up to not FT win to try and see if they can stop the momentum of Starburst, because actually it feels like Starburst has been stunned, but now they're collected. They can play loose, they can play free, and they are the ones that are really putting the pressure on not FT win.
If I'm not FT win, maybe I'm sweating a little bit right now. I'm definitely sweating a little. I'm definitely a little concerned about the momentum shift. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. You start moving that pendulum, and then it becomes very hard to stop it. And, you know, Starburst winning in Clam Blitz like that, you really take the wind out of your opponent's sails, because you're riding that high. You think, okay, we got it, that's it, it's over, we got it, and then you don't got it, and all of a sudden, whoosh, there goes all the wind out of your sails. You're starting over from scratch on your momentum, and it seems like it's been really tough for not FT win to build that back up.
9, if you are not FT win, what game mode are you thinking about right now? Because we saw them win Splat Zones late from behind. Obviously, they've won Rainmaker. They've won Tower Control. Which of those 3 do you feel like they feel the most confident in? Because if you don't get this win here, you really have a lot of pressure on yourself in Game 7.
Well, here's my thought. There's 2 ways to approach this. earlier they did choose Splat Zones to start off this set. That was their choice as the lower seed. They chose Splat Zones, so comfortable there. But they really, really looked good on tower control. And tower control, for most teams, tends to be the mode that you don't want to take Starburst to. It's something they've been very dominant on. But that double end zap is going to be tough for Starburst to crack here. They probably, if the same trick comes out against them twice, they'll certainly have some sort of answer. But, I mean, it's going to be a coin flip in my eyes.
Well, we know that the game mode will be tower control, so it's going to be very exciting to see what happens after that, because as you said, they were very dominant there, Nine. And Ashley, you look at what Not FT Win was able to do, not just offensively in tower control, but remember, Starburst only got to 94, just 6 measly points in tower control, so they're very capable of defending the tower also.
This is an extremely strategic choice by Not FT Win because, you know, they're sitting here saying, okay, this is a really strong game mode for Starburst, but if they win, we still have another game to play, right? So it's like, it's such a strategic, they're taking it away from them in a way that is like, if we win this, then we win everything. If not, we've now taken away a strength of theirs without it being the game mode that is everything on the line.
Well, buckle up, because it'll be tower control and Wahoo World. So the first time we've seen Wahoo World in this Fresh 4 Championship 2021 here today. And what do you think about this map here, Nine, on tower control? Because we know there's a big drop as you start to get to that first and second zone. And there really is that period. If you can get the tower past that checkpoint, you've given yourself a huge advantage.
Yeah, a lot of open sight lanes here on this map. That's what I think of when I think of Wahoo World, where, Jordan, apparently you are right now looking at your background.
Hey,
but,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, a couple churros, some corn dogs in between the breaks.
Pick me up.
Here.
Get me a souvenir, please. I want a stuffed, I need a stuffed squid.
Funnel cake does sound good, but I'll just say I'm really curious what Ice is going to pick here, right? Because in the previous game we saw this that tower control was played on, they didn't really have a whole lot of range to do anything with, frankly, and it's one of the reasons why they had such a difficult time attacking the defensive positions of Not FT Win. So I'm curious what Ice is feeling, what he's going to go with in this do or die situation, but it is very, very treacherous to attack once you get past that area that you were talking about, Jordan.
What's fascinating, Ashley, is the last time these two teams squared off in tower control, it was Starburst that chose the game mode, which was tower control, and then it was Not FT Win that chose Inkblot Art Academy. So if you're Starburst, I figure you've got to feel pretty confident, because you not only got the game mode that you feel confident in, but you picked the map that you feel the most comfortable with.
Yeah, this is definitely, I think, you know, going into this, I would say Starburst is going to be favored to potentially win this game, this particular game, and take it to 7. But I'll be very curious. We've got double end zaps back out on the board for Not FT Win, so we have to see how Starburst can counter that this time.
9, any adjustment from Starburst as they face this double end zap once again?
Yes, range seems to be the name of the game here. Ice has gone back to a true backline with that custom jet squelcher that farms Stingray like no other, and Brandroid going to be on the 96 gal for a little bit of range
left here.
well.
We mentioned Starburst, Not FT Win, 3-2 lead in the games here in these grand finals for Not FT Win. You see already just a slight advantage for Starburst, just 3 ticks, but that was nearly what they got last time here, Ashley, as Starburst, they're trying to keep their tournament hopes alive here. If they can force a game 7, it puts all the pressure on Not FT Win, and as we said before, neither team really wants to overextend themselves too early, as Brand picks up a nice double splat.
Really, really nice pair of picks from Brand. You can see Not FT Win. Go ahead and super jumping right back to teammates. Not going to stick around and do a 1v1 on Brand right now, because he seems to be a little bit on fire.
So here is Starburst, opening push, getting to the first checkpoint. No issues whatsoever trying to get past that. And 9, that momentum of Starburst continues to carry over. You mentioned all the open sight lines so far playing in favor for Starburst with that extra range.
Yeah, and you can see already fading back here, they got what they wanted, which is that checkpoint out of the way. Now every push they make is going to be that much more brutal, and they're looking to start one right now with an armor and Ice's Stingray. If they find a couple on this, it could go even further.
Brandroid trying to provide a little bit of help here. They maintain that middle platform right now. Just over 3 minutes left. Starburst trying to extend this push. Brandroid doing a fine job of avoiding that splat bomb. Another splat bomb. Finally, Brandroid goes down, but not before Starburst builds their lead to 53. And Ashley, it looks like not FT Win is the team that's on their heels and not comfortable because they can't even get close to the tower to make any type of push.
Yeah, that change up that Starburst made to have more range to counter those end zaps has really made a humongous difference in them being able to push forward and also defend really, really well from not FT Win's pushes.
But just as we said that, not FT Win getting their first sizable push of the game. However, they're trying to just get through that checkpoint. We know how difficult that first one is here, 9, and they're just trying to grunt through it, trying to get everybody there. But that's hard when you're down 3-1.
Yeah, and look at that right there. Kyo maybe could have swam towards it, but opted to go all the way back and jump out. They know that that was not the winning push. They were even the push they could get back to it. So, again, credit the members of Starburst here making the big plays. And look at where this Stingray is being fired from. Ice is going to have the opportunity to get 2 or 3 with this.
Ice applying tremendous pressure with that Stingray, and now it's another potential push for Starburst. 4-4 on the map. Inkjet coming out. Inkjet able to pick up 1. Looking for 2 more. Here is Biscuit. And now Biscuit and not FT Win able to stop that push coming in. But the tower is snatched again by Starburst. And they've got a numbers advantage here, Ashley.
Yeah, they do have a numbers advantage. You've got Ice up. He is just so accurate and so deadly with that Stingray.
So now Starburst trying to tie things up. They were down 0-3. They now have full control of this Game 6, trying to force a Game 7, getting to that final checkpoint. Starburst. Oh, it's a wipe here, nearly 9, and it is all Starburst on this final checkpoint. We're going to see a KO that sends Grand Finals to Game 7. Unbelievable, 9, what we're seeing take place here.
Wow. What an adjustment. I mean, that was... I will say that was just as dominant as the first tower control game that we saw. I know that there was a bigger push by not FT Win to start that game, certainly more than the 6 points that Starburst could muster up in their previous tower control game. But that was every bit as dominant. You got the sense there was never a huge opportunity. And I think this more range thing, that nice little adjustment, that nice little tactic has really paid off in a big way. Now the question is, was that a mode and map specific thing? Are they going to stick with that? Because now the cupboard is open for FT Win to decide this on their terms.
Well, the thing is, you can't do tower control anymore, so the mode will be selected by FT Win. But what's interesting is it seems like Starburst, a team that plays so well based upon what the map is. And as we take a look at the standings in Grand Finals, this is why you tune in. This is why we get a chance to cast this. You get to Game 7 of Grand Finals, and Ashley, what else can you say? Starburst, they were done. It looked like they were about to get swept 4-0. It took an overtime, come from behind victory and Clam Blitz in Game 4, and now Starburst has rattled off 3 straight victories on the verge of making up some Splatoon 2 competitive history to try and do a reverse sweep. What do you think the advantage lies? Do you think it lies in the map or the mode right now if you're Starburst?
I mean, if you're Starburst, obviously, you know, you've got your choice of map right now. Not FT Win is going to be choosing the mode. Potentially your strongest mode has been taken away from you. So that's a bummer, but you do get to choose the map. So at least they are coming in with I think they're coming in with 2 out of 3 really important things, which is momentum and the map.
Well, the stage is set. Game 7, Grand Finals. It'll be Rainmaker on the Reef. So 9, this is a very fast and frenetic stage when it comes to Rainmaker. What do you think Starburst needs to keep in mind here if they want to pull off this historic come-from-behind victory?
Well, it's wild how the game works, right? This is the mode that they won the ladder for. This is the mode that, on paper, Starburst, this would be the one you don't want to take them to. But, again, FT Win did get the knockout the last time they played here. So if you're Starburst, I think you don't think at all. You have cracked a code. You have figured something out in these last 3 games. Momentum is on your side. Maybe it's the range. Maybe it's just that, you know, you needed a moment to adjust to the way they were playing, to kind of download them a little bit. But this is a team you've played against 100 times. This is a team that you have beaten before. Play the game. Don't overthink it.
Ashley, what is not FT Win thinking? I mean, you were seconds away from a 4-0 sweep and winning this entire tournament. Now you've lost 3 straight games and you have lost complete control of the momentum. What is going through the minds of not FT Win?
You got to just be cool, composed. You got to have grit. Like, this is grit, right? Grit wins championships. If they can get in there and stay calm, they can potentially win this. They can take it back.
Rainmaker on the reef. Which team will strike first? Starburst, not FT Win. Game 7, the Fresh 4 Championship 2021. Whoever wins it will go down as an unbelievable grand finals. So sit back and enjoy. We'll see who is able to overcome unbelievable odds and win our championship here today. Right now, Rainmaker Shield is down. Starburst being patient, trying to fight through a couple of suction bombs coming through on that suction bomb rush. But now it's a 3-3 advantage. It was temporarily a 3-2 advantage for Starburst, but so far, nobody, as we said before, trying to overextend themselves.
Yeah, nobody trying to overextend, and even though it was essentially a trade, it was a trade that favored Starburst because they were able to get into a better position on that central area that we will see these teams jockey for time and time again over the course of this game.
Biscuit trying to bounce back, backed up into a bit of a corner. You see the pressure coming on from a trio of members from Starburst, and that Rainmaker in the hands of Starburst. They'll build the early lead. See the suction bomb rush coming from Bagel. Bagel just being mindful, trying to litter suction bombs on that bridge and apply a little bit more pressure. But then here comes that Rainmaker, and so far, Ashley, Starburst doing a good job of just being patient while in control of the Rainmaker.
Doing a really, really good job of being patient, not overextending, doing their best to sort of get a pick or two and then push forward.
That's what you see. Unfortunately, Starburst down 4-3 for the second. Now they take the numbers advantage here, 9-3-2, and this is when you got to strike.
Yeah, this is actually a rare overextension by Biscuit here. Dove into what was a 1v2 and maybe didn't need to. I'm not sure what member was actually able to take out the Rainmaker, but that's going to give them much, much needed time to get set back up, especially because Ice was sitting on that Stingray. Now look at this, that Stingray's not going to find anything relevant, and now FT Win has a great opportunity to make a counter push because Kyo and Biscuit are already deep.
FT Win getting the stop just in the nick of time. You see that left pathway up the ramp, sort of the backdoor entrance. You can chew off a lot of the score if you get the Rainmaker down there. So it sits back in the middle. Starburst at 82. Plenty of time left here in this final decisive Game 7. Ashley, it seems like even though FT Win has done a fine job of playing defense, they haven't really put themselves in a position to push as they are now back on their heels once again.
They're getting stopped over and over again by the range here. Ice on this Stingray is just so good. I can't, every time, I love watching Ice with a Stingray. It's one of my favorite things in Splatoon 2, competitive matches. And I mean, there's a reason. He's just so good with it and just really precise.
There's the push for Starburst. They get a numbers advantage. They now take it all the way to 25-9. This puts tremendous pressure on not FT Win.
Yeah, that is a push that's going to be difficult to top. They're going to get 3 people in the middle here because of that jump to Kyo, and Kyo is going to opt to try to engage on this left side. 2 of their members already down, so the result of this battle might not even be important because that's going to leave 3 people left on the map to fight against their Rainmaker, and sure enough, moving back towards the Rainmaker, not the call there. This is looking very, very treacherous for not FT Win.
Starburst getting the stop. They're trying to rattle off 4 straight wins to come back from a 3-0 hole to win this championship. Less than 90 seconds left. They lead 25-81. 4-3 advantage on the map. They just have to play so smart here, Ashley. It seems like at this point, if you're Starburst, you can't make the big mistake.
Wow, and I'll tell you right now, Bran with that absolutely amazing inkjet shot. I mean, right in the middle of a booyah bomb. I mean, it's just so good. Like, Bran is just really doing a great job here.
3-2 numbers. Starburst, they want to push it. They're going to continue to play aggressive. Nothing simple down the stretch for them, and they're going to do what got them here, 9, and that was being aggressive and being open to doing whatever they need to do. But now 45 seconds left. If you're not FT Win, you're back in that same situation in Game 1. Seems like everything has to go perfectly for them.
Yeah, and you actually saw Biscuit there once again approaching maybe just a little bit too hard, and Bran getting the punishment for that. It's a little bit of an overextension, but not FT Win doesn't have much of a choice here. They need picks. They need members of Starburst back in the respawn circle. And actually, you talked a lot about Ice's Stingray here. On this mode, to go through that is not going to be an easy task.
Not at all.
Here's Not FT Win. 15 seconds left. They have the Rainmaker. They're making a push. It is 3-1. Oh, Not FT Win. Are they going to do this in the final seconds and try to take Game 7? But no, they lose it with 3 seconds left. And now it's up to Starburst. Can they play defense? And that does it. Starburst down 0-3. They take 4 straight from Not FT Win and claim the Splatoon 2 Fresh 4 Championship 2021 in unbelievable fashion. 9. What else can you say about the resolve of Starburst with their backs up against the wall to do the unthinkable? Win 4 straight games. Unbelievable.
It's astounding, but can we talk about the end of that game? You said it was just 1 person left against 3. It was Brandroid. Brandroid got all 3. And what a microcosm of what this set was, right? Backs against the wall, not in a great spot to even begin mounting a comeback there, to be able to get all 3 at the end to ensure the victory. What a gritty win for Starburst. We talk so much about Not FT Win's pedigree. The members of those teams, they've won it before. They seem to always pull it out. A higher class. Starburst, congratulations. You have been working for this for so long, and what a deserved victory. You couldn't have made it any harder for yourselves, but you got the job done in the end.
I mean, Ashley, how good does this have to feel for Starburst? I mean, what is the narrative if they get swept 4-0 by Not FT Win, who doesn't have all their members? But no, they change course completely and do the unthinkable. They come back from 3-0 and get 4 straight wins to claim this championship.
I mean, is there no more delicious way to win a championship than a reverse sweep? I mean, it's got to feel amazing. It's got to feel incredible. You know, Ice had 6 Stingrays in the middle of that Rainmaker match. Like, I can't believe the level of composure it takes to stop the momentum in such a way. I mean, that game 4 was the Clam Blitz game, that overtime win, absolutely changed the fate of this match.
Let's take a look at the final bracket from just an absolutely thrilling day of Splatoon 2 competition here in this Fresh 4 Championship 2021. There is your champion, Starburst, in Game 7 that went to overtime, able to come back from a 3-0 hole against Not FT Win and claim our grand prize package. Not FT Win will get our first place package, but all of us are winners for watching what will go down, at least for the 3 of us, one of the most unbelievable grand final sets we have ever seen, and really put a stamp on just the excitement that was the Splatoon 2 Fresh 4 Championship 2021. So thank you again for joining us. For myself, Ashley, and 9, what an unbelievable tournament. Make sure you continue to stay tuned to Nintendo Versus for more great Nintendo competitive action. And don't forget, Play Versus is Nintendo's official scholastic partner for both Super Smash Bros. And Splatoon 2, where thousands of high school players will compete weekly for a championship title, and players can now earn a varsity letter. Yeah, that's right, a varsity letter by gaming with their friends. The fall season has already begun, but you can sign up now to learn more about the spring season at www.playversus.com. Spread the word at your school and visit www.playversus.com to get your school ready to play in the spring season of 2022. That'll do it for all of us. We'll catch you guys next time, and until then, enjoy all the great Nintendo competitive action.
Let me tell you a story about the most powerful bounty hunter in the galaxy, Samus Aran. Samus is the best of all of us, and yet her story is beyond us. Raised by mysterious creatures, she was sharpened beyond humanity, forced by fate, circumstance, and duty to survive. The battles she's faced are beyond imagination. Fearsome aliens, apocalyptic creatures, and even monsters within. Mission after mission, Samus has proven to be infallible, strong, ferocious. Still, every mission leaves deep scars, and every hunter has a final hunt. This is a story of the hunter becoming the hunted.